Hello and welcome. My name is David Riklan. I'm the founder of selfgrowth.com and the co-creator of the joint venture directory. Today, we'll be discussing how to end chronic health issues. And we have a great guest with us today, Russell Mariani. Hello, Russell.
Hello, David.
All right. Before we jump in, I just want to share a little background. Looking forward to having you here and speaking with you today. Many of us suffer from a wide range of chronic health issues, digestive issues, chronic fatigue, mood disorders, sleep disorders, skin disorders, joint inflammation, muscle fatigue, exercise intolerance. And we have a great opportunity to really learn how to deal with a lot of these and how the body can help us heal. And we have Russell Mariani here to help us today. And I want to just take a couple minutes and share some of his background with you. Russell Mariani is the Director of Health Education at the Center for Functional Nutrition. He's a health educator, nutrition counselor, digestive wellness expert. He's been in private practice a long time, since 1980. Bachelor's degree from Rutgers, a Master's of Arts degree in health education from Vermont College at Norwich University, and continues acquiring ongoing education credits with a focus digestive wellness, integrative health through the Institute of Functional Medicine and the Institute of Functional Nutrition. Since 1980, he's helped thousands of people regain their dietary and lifestyle improvements through classes, seminars, retreats, personal consultations. And he's going to be offering today access to a very powerful live webinar coming up that he's doing called the Roots of Health Masterclass, where he's going to step through the miraculous self-healing capabilities of the human body. And before we jump in with Russell, I just want to give out a website to sign up for this free masterclass. And you can sign up for it by going to selfgrowth.com/roots.html. And if you do nothing else today, make sure you sign up for this. You're going to want to really see and hear exactly everything is going to share. We're going to give you a kind of a sneak preview today. It's some core things, but you want to go to the full masterclass. All right, Russell, let's jump in over here. Chronic health issues. How common are these chronic health issues?
Way too common. I think most people who even consider themselves relatively healthy are putting up with chronic pain, chronic fatigue, IBS, all kinds of things, and they just accept that that's normal.
Right.
It might be normal in the current world, but it's not normal at all. When the body is getting what it wants and needs, there should be no negative symptoms at all. People should have good energy. They should sleep like a baby. Their skin is good, no problems with digestion, no gas, no blood. So no negative symptoms at all. And the body knows how to do this. The only issue is, does the person in question know how to cooperate with those self-healing mechanisms?
It's interesting that you mention how common these are. I know so many people who have chronic issues, and I see typically one of two things. Either they've just accepted that they're going to be suffering all the time, or they're on a regimen of pharmaceuticals that are having other impacts on them, and a wide range, and some absolutely are necessary, but many of them, and I think many people and many doctors are prescribing things that are unnecessary, where we can kind of take control for ourselves. So I see these all over the place. So the question that begs, that all these chronic health issues beg, are there things that we can do? What, in your experience, are there things that we can proactively do to really change these issues?
Yes, absolutely. And I've spent the last 50 years of my life finding what those things are, experimenting with them myself, and then integrating that. Once they're proven safe and effective, then I would introduce them into my practice, make sure that they're helping other people to fully restore their health. So yes, there's a lot of things that we can do. And just a couple of thoughts. So if people watching this, if you're completely satisfied with your level of health and energy, then don't change anything. You know, what you're doing is obviously working. But for most people, it's not working. And just a comment about medication, you know, that's the realm of patient doctor, you know, confidentiality, and people should, you know, trust that their doctor has their best interest in heart and has their health in mind. But most doctors are not trained to teach patients how to be healthy. They're simply trained to treat symptoms. And the only sanctioned treatments in allopathic medicine, which is the form of medicine that we have in the United States and most Western countries, is the only sanctioned treatments are pharmaceuticals or surgery. And as you alluded to, not some, all medications have adverse side effects. All you have to do is take the name of any medication, Google it, and add the words side effects, and they'll come right up.
Sure.
So my position on medication is it sometimes is necessary, especially in emergencies, but for all chronic conditions, blood pressure, blood sugar, headaches, joint pain, you name it, there is a way to work with the body to gradually help that person get off medications, because medications are not nutrients. Medications are chemicals, and they're
Right.
toxic to the body. So long-term use of any medication, even if it's helping you, you know, alleviate a particular symptom, it's causing harm to your kidneys and liver and other internal organs. And there's no doctor on planet Earth who would disagree with that, you know. But what I have found over the years in talking to people is there's a different understanding of safety and risk. So when a doctor prescribes a medication, they're actually trying to alleviate suffering in their patient. No question about that. And so if the patient is experiencing a relief of suffering from their symptoms, then the doctor is willing to make that trade-off with the risk that, you know, it'll take years before their kidneys and liver might get damaged. But the patient doesn't really understand that.
Right.
When the patient says, "Is this medication safe?" and the doctor says, "Oh, yes, it's safe," the patient thinks, "Oh, it's 100% safe.
Right. Right.
There's no possible damage," but it's not the case.
All right. Well, let's jump in. I know you're going to cover these in a lot more detail during the webinar, but can you give us some ideas on where we can get started for making changes that will have an impact on all these chronic issues?
Yeah, absolutely. So I work in the world of functional medicine, functional nutrition, and it's been around for 50, 60 years. In fact, the pioneers of this health model were allopathically trained and are allopathically trained medical doctors who, either through their own health crisis or the health crisis of a loved one, family member, friend, could not get better through the normal allopathic methods.
Right.
So started exploring and finding all these nutritional alternatives. So the first thing I would say is, or the first principle of functional medicine, is that the body is constantly healing itself. The body is constantly striving to regain function and maintain health. Second principle is, when it comes to the decisions we make about everything, but especially the physical inputs, what we eat, what we drink, what we take for medicine, what we take for supplements, nothing is neutral. There's nothing that we do, but particularly there's nothing that we eat or drink that has no impact on our physiology and health. And every impact is either complementary, helpful, or insulting or harmful. The complementary foods, beverages, habits, supplements literally drive the body towards healing.
Right.
But the insulting habits, behaviors, foods, etc., drive the body towards dysfunction and degeneration, chronic degeneration, and eventually dis-ease. So my job with everybody is to help them understand these basic principles and then do an inventory of their diet, particularly their lifestyle, but primarily those physical inputs, and help them to understand the difference between the complementary foods, habits, behavior, and the insulting ones. And when you start making those changes, your body does the rest. Your body literally starts functioning much better because that's what it wants to do. It's trying, in fact, my understanding of a negative symptom. Why does your body cause a headache? Why does your body produce a headache? Why does your body produce a stomach ache? Why do you have joint pain? Those are messages from your body to you to say, hey, stop drinking so much coffee.
Right.
Or be better hydrated. Or you have to fix your intestinal microbiome, or et cetera, et cetera. But we don't think for a second, most people, that their negative symptom is their body trying to tell them something important. We just suppress the symptom,
Right,
with a medication. So there's lots of things that we can do to show the body that we're starting to cooperate with it.
right. It's interesting. A phrase that I've used for a long time is pain is my friend.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that, people hate that phrase. They hate the phrase pain is my friend. I say it's my body alerting me to the fact that there is something wrong and I need to do something about it right away. You know,
100%.
you know, what better friend to tell you, what better than a friend to tell you, hey, there's something wrong with your arm, your stomach, your head, whatever it is. So that I came up with the phrase a long time ago, that pain is my friend. But it's literally, as you're describing, it's the body telling you you're doing something wrong, something needs to change.
Correct.
So what are some things, is there kind of a starting point of just a couple of things? I know we'll get into it in detail. And let me give the webinar, let me give the location to sign up for the webinar again. I know you go into a lot of these in the webinar, but just to get some samples of the types of things that you see are making an impact. So clearly what you're eating, what you're drinking. But let me give out the website one more time. So it's the Roots of Health Masterclass, and it's literally selfgrowth.com/roots, ROTS.html. So just a kind of a sneak preview of some of the types of things that you'll be covering, that you're seeing that make an impact.
Yes, and again, so we'll go into great detail in all these things. So when we identify complementary and insulting habits, over the years, we've identified 7 distinct and interconnected root cause areas. Okay, so that's why many people do 1 or 2 things that they're told will definitely improve their health, and they may, but what I have found is that unless and until you've identified the insulting habits in each of the 7 areas and started to correct them, you may see little progress, even though you're totally dedicated, disciplined, spending money, have the great supplements, you've changed your diet. But those are only 2 of the 7 areas. So basically, so I'll just mention what the 7 areas are, and then I'll talk a little bit about 1 or 2 of them. So the first area is mindfulness, and that includes everything that you would normally think of when you hear that term: paying attention, being more aware. But what I do in the area of mindfulness is I have an exercise where I walk people through a process where we identify the insulting habits and the complementary habits. Now, for people watching, for people listening, before they read another book, before they hear another lecture, including mine on January 25th, you could sit down right now and take out a piece of paper, just based on what you've heard so far, and on one side of the piece of paper, put complementary habits, things that you do every day that you know are helpful to your body, or things that you know are helpful. Maybe you're not doing them, but you know that they're helpful. You know that they're complementary. And then on the other side of the piece of paper, write down the things that you know that you do right now in your diet, in your lifestyle, that are not helpful, that are insulting.
Right.
So that's the first exercise I do with everybody. Now, this second root cause area is hydration. The third root cause area is micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, trace minerals, amino acids. Fourth area is macronutrients. That means, what should I eat for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, etc. Root cause area number 5 is the area of the intestinal microbiome, the ecosystem that has such an impact on everything. It's not just where our food gets processed and micronutrients get delivered. It has an impact on all functions of the body. So in functional medicine, we say, and this is why digestive wellness is such a key piece of the puzzle. We say that everything is downstream of the intestinal microbiome. If your gut is healthy, chances are the rest of your body will be healthy.
Right.
But if your gut is out of balance, you're going to have problems. Root cause area number 6, oxidative stress, the whole area of inflammation. And root cause area number 7 is something called redox signaling. Now, let me give you an example. You said pain is my friend. That's an awesome phrase. One of my teachers and mentors is a medical doctor. We call him Dr. B because his last name is hard to pronounce. Batman Gellage. Some people have heard of this man. He wrote, he's the discoverer of what we call the water cure recipe. And the title of his first book was, back in, when did he publish it? The early 90s, a book called Your Body's Many Cries for Water. The subtitle was, You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty. So it's a great example. For example, the number 1 cause of headaches, chronic unintentional dehydration. Number 1 cause of joint pain, chronic unintentional dehydration. Number 1 cause of acid reflux and indigestion and IBS, chronic unintentional dehydration. Because ultimately our health is the result of the health of individual cells.
Right.
That's the basic building block. Cells make up tissue, tissue make up organs, organs make up systems. And every cell of our body is at least 50% water and up to even 70, 75% water. So if there's drought at any level, you're going to have symptoms and your body is going to alert you. Mm-hmm. Anxiety, depression, number 1 cause, chronic underhydration. So that's a big piece of the puzzle. So you could see that somebody could be exercising and being really careful about their diet, taking really good supplements, meditating, doing yoga, but they're not hydrated. And so they're not getting the full benefit of all those other things.
It makes total sense. So I know you're going to get into this, cover a lot of different areas, the microbiome, and these are important areas. I know you're going to be covering them in a lot of detail in the masterclass. I'd like to spend a couple of minutes with you before we finish up. If you can share some results that you've seen with people that have really focused on these 7 areas and made the changes. What are you seeing from people? What impact is this having on their overall health, well-being?
Yeah, so most of the people who reach out to me are suffering from some type of digestive system disorder. Constipation, diarrhea, chronic diarrhea, colitis, Crohn's disease, reflux, the IBS, IBD, these type of things. However, even though that's the thing that's most acutely troubling to them, that's the thing that more than any other symptom is really destroying their quality of life, quality of health. So yes, the digestive system dominates, but they also have insomnia. They also have joint pain. They also get headaches, sometimes migraines. Many of them have skin problems like eczema or psoriasis or rosacea. Many of them have anxiety and depression because of their poor quality of life. So nobody, generally speaking, has just one symptom.
Right.
I just have a little acid reflux, but the rest of my body is perfectly fine. So even though I focus on, solving the digestive system problem, and it doesn't happen overnight, takes 2 or 3 months going through a process where we address and resolve all 7 areas. But most people start to feel a significant shift and improvement within the first 10 days. And so again, even though I'm focused primarily on healing these digestive problems, the number one thing that people tell me once their digestive system gets better, they say, oh, by the way, I don't have any more headaches. Oh, by the way, my skin cleared up. Oh, by the way, I'm sleeping like a baby again. Oh, by the way, et cetera, et cetera. In fact, just recently, I'm working with a woman in near Portsmouth, New Hampshire, and she had kind of chronic constipation issue. That was the number one issue. But she also had AFib. She also had an irregular heartbeat. And within 14 days of making changes in each of these 7 areas, she sent me an email and she said, is it possible for my heart to improve because of all these other things that I'm doing? I said, why? She said, because I haven't had any AFib symptoms now in a couple of days. And now it's 3 months and she hasn't had symptoms. So everything is connected. Everything is connected. And again, your body will heal itself once you start cooperating. And when you shift from insulting habits to complementary habits in each of these 7 areas, there isn't an area that's left unattended. And so whatever the problems are, generally speaking, they're going to improve.
All right, I like it. So starting point for folks, going to do this inventory. That's kind of a starting point of the habits that you have, and primarily it's focused primarily on what you're ingesting, what you're taking in, what you're doing in your body. So I know we're going to cover this in a lot more detail in the masterclass, but just want to get everybody started. And once again, if you haven't had a chance, jot this website down. You want to join us for this Roots of Health Masterclass. It's really, for me, it's the Roots of Good Health Masterclass, what you need to do. And it's just selfgrowth.com /roots.html. And Russell, before we finish, any final words or thoughts that you want to leave everybody before we finish up here?
I guess I would just repeat that, contrary to a lot of opinion out there in the world of health and healing or the world of medicine, it's for so many patients, it's so frustrating because they really want to get better. They really don't want to become dependent on medications. And they assume that if their doctors knew that there were other things that they could do to improve their health, that they would tell them.
Right.
For most people, they have the experience of asking the doctor, okay, you've diagnosed me with this condition, this medical condition. But what causes it? What causes it? What can I do to change it? And most of the time, the doctors say 2 things. They say, we don't know what causes it. And the worst thing they say is, there isn't anything you can do about it. You just have to learn to live with it. And so millions of people have gotten that message.
Sure.
Millions of people have gotten that misinformation. It's not true. Some of my teachers have said there are no incurable diseases. So the message I would like everyone to remember, or the information I would like everyone to remember, is your body is genetically programmed to be healthy. And the only reason you're not healthy is because you haven't been given an owner's manual. Right? You buy a new car, you get an owner's manual. If you use it properly, it won't break down. Same with the human body. if you know how to service it, change the oil, stay hydrated, take the right balance of nutrients, exercise, breathe in good air, you do all those things and your body will restore restore its health. And then by continuing to do those same complementary habits, you can maintain your health for a very long time.
All right, that's a great message. I love it. I'm on board with it. Russell, great speaking with you today, and looking forward to seeing everybody on the masterclass, and wish everybody good health. Looking forward to supporting you. We'll talk to everybody soon.
Thank you, David. Thanks, everybody.